Okay, so one thing about Scorpio, it's one of the signs that has three different symbolic creatures associated with it. We have the scorpion, obviously. It's also got the eagle and the phoenix as its symbolic creature. And I find this significant as well. The phoenix being a creature who dies in the flames of perhaps the Via Combusto and is reborn as a new being. And so I think that is one of the lessons of Scorpio, um, to surrender and die to the old to be transformed and born as a new being. Okay. So in Venus's retrograde, she did not make it all the way back to Spica. She came within a degree, and I think that is also significant because in the belief of the path, the burning path, or the Via Combusto, Spica is considered to be the refuge, the bright and safe light in the burning path. So I think it was somewhat of a difficult retrograde. I know for me personally it was, but I think it was a challenge to to the feminine, to the collective feminine and the divine and sacred feminine, that to be reborn, to be transformed, to have a new ego and identity. So Venus did conjunct the Sun on October 26th in 2018, and I really love the teachings of the Shamanic Astrology Mystery School. They believe that this conjunction is it is comparable to the story of Inanna and Inanna's journey to the underworld to be reborn. And so that happens after the conjunction as morning star. And the Greeks called the morning star Phosphorus. And I love that. The morning star is a Venus that is bright and inspired and ready to make changes, ready to make things new and different. And so I think the Venus that we've had since October has been a feminine energy that is courageous and pioneering. So, but new and initiated. So, okay. After the retrograde, through the wheel of the year, now I pay a lot of attention to the part of the sky that contains Spica. So, this year in particular, I paid a lot of attention to everything that happened with that 25 degrees Libra retrograde degree. And something really big happened, something really important. So on April 15th, 2019, the Cathedral of Notre Dame caught on fire. And this is huge. And this is connected with the Venus retrograde. Now, Notre Dame means great lady or our great lady. And Notre Dame is a cathedral that was built certainly on the remnants of previous sacred sites to ancient people. But it is probably, I would say, the most well-known example of a cathedral to Mary in the world. And Mary is, in our modern times, the Virgin Mary, the Mother Mary, certainly the most visible example of how we celebrate the goddess. We don't have in our Western world a lot of other goddess figures besides Mary. So the fact that this great, great cathedral caught on fire and was virtually destroyed is significant to the great feminine, to the goddess, but it is not without a connection to the retrograde. See, when this happened, the sun was it directly and exactly opposing 25 degrees of Libra. So the sun was at 25 degrees of Aries, which is a sign that the sun does really love to be in. It's exalted in Aries. It is to me just absolutely remarkable that as the sun shone light across the zodiac to that retrograde degree of 25.15 degrees Libra, the place where Venus was transformed and initiated into a new feminine, we have a fire, recalling also the Via Combusto and the burning way. I see this as very symbolic for our collective path and our collective recognition of how we see the divine feminine, the feminine energies of God. Um, Absolutely, Notre Dame is a beautiful reverence to the Virgin Mary and the Mother Mary. But I see the fire as symbolic of a new feminine rising. And I must say, when all of this hit me during the fire, I heard that little voice it say, "She is the phoenix." So the goddess is the phoenix rising from these flames. And one reason that I absolutely know that the energies of the goddess are alive and well and doing fine. Um, the Cathedral of Notre Dame had bees on the roof. There were bees that were kept on the roof and honey made from this sacred place. And bees in antiquity, and this will be another video that I will certainly make. Bees have been associated absolutely with the goddess and with the sun. So the fact that the bees were on the roof during the fire, I was certain the bees did not survive. It was a terrible inferno, but they did. The bees survived the Notre Dame fire, and a testament to the wonder of bees, but also I think symbolically it says to me that the, the feminine energies that were embodied in Notre Dame are perfectly fine. And we just need a new rise of a new feminine. So it's interesting, during the fire, not only was the sun opposing the retrograde degrees of Venus's of Venus, Venus herself was at the 24th degree of Pisces, um, which is opposite to Virgo, but only 3 degrees from her own exaltation spot. Venus is exalted at the 27th degree of Pisces. So I find this really significant too. This is a strong Venus, a very powerful Venus in a sign that she really loves to be in. So once again, I feel like it says to me, the feminine energy is alive and well, and it was merely a shell, an ego construct of a building that was destroyed. Um, so during Venus's retrograde, near the whole retrograde, essentially, Venus and Uranus were in opposition. Now, Uranus is often called the energies of sudden, unexpected change. Some people call it the tower moment, where something changes so rapidly that so unexpectedly that all you can do is surrender to it and rearrange your life around it. So so Venus in opposition with Uranus during all of her retrograde, and in fact she had like exact opposition during the retrograde too. I think this it lended itself to a feeling of tension, perhaps, that something big in this retrograde was changing and happening. Now, Uranus not only is sudden, unexpected change, like a lightning bolt, it is also an energy in its highest vibe of genius and of divine inspiration and connection. So I do feel like when Uranus's energies feel a little tumultuous, it is because a higher and more perfect realization or life change is about to happen. So during the burning of Notre Dame, um, Venus was actually in trine to, oh, I'm sorry, not Venus, the moon was in trine to Uranus. Now, this is significant that the moon and Uranus were in beautiful, harmonious energies, of earth energies. And I'll come back to why that's important with the moon in a moment. So, oh, another thing about Uranus. Uranus is also revolutionary change. And so Venus and Uranus being in opposition, I think it speaks to revolutionary change in the way that we see and honor the sacred feminine collectively. Um, so, I, during the Notre Dame, right before it, Uranus moved to the sign of Taurus, which is Venus's sign. And Uranus moved there to permanently remain for the next 7, 8 years. So this is Earth energy, this is fixed Earth energy, and this is Venus's world of the green and growing and abundant things. So I really feel like Uranus played quite a role in the retrograde and in this moment of Notre Dame, of bringing the fire of an excitement of revolution to Venus's sign of Taurus. So I did some research that absolutely blew my mind. So there are many, many cathedrals in France with the name Notre Dame in the title. They're all over. There are cathedrals to the Great Lady all over northern France. And I'm going to put a link to this website below. And since I'm not really very good at technology, if I can't figure out how to put it in the description of this video, I'll put it in the comments because this site is remarkable. So a person did some research and found that the cathedrals of Notre Dame in northern France were laid out in the constellation of Virgo. And this is wonderful. That each one represented a star in the constellation. Now, it has to be said that the star Spica, my favorite and most important star of Virgo, is the cathedral sharp. And it is well worth looking into the mysteries of that cathedral. It is remarkable. It is a cathedral with labyrinths and black Madonnas and many, many, many feminine mysteries. So that is this, according to this person, Sharp represents the star Spica. So I found, thinking about that that these cathedrals named after the Great Lady, it ties us to the constellation of Virgo and to the age that we're in, the Pisces and Virgo in age. And so please look into that as the link that I'll put below. Okay, so I said there would be something significant with the moon. During the fire, the moon was at 4 degrees Virgo. And I feel like this is absolute foreshadowing. This is beautiful because the thing I really want to talk about next, and the reason I made this video, is because of the Venus-Mars conjunction that is happening at the 4th degree of Virgo. So I feel, to me, this is this moment of revolutionary change for the feminine. We were given a little clue by the light of the moon that that Virgo not only is significant for its role with the Great Mother and the Virgin Mother of Christianity, but the priestess, the Virgin Priestess, as some people call the sign Virgo. So I think this is a rise of how we devote ourselves to the divine feminine. But one other thing that was really important, Venus in her near her exaltation also was making an inconjunct to the line, to the degree of her retrograde. Now, inconjuncts, I will someday make a video about how I feel about inconjuncts too. Essentially what they are lines of the Venus star. So if you had two coming to a point, it's called a yod, or finger of God, but I call it finger of goddess since it's related to Venus. Excuse me. So Venus was in a line of an inconjunct to the degree. So I feel that it gives even more resonance to the energies of the feminine here, because I think Venus rules the inconjunct. Okay, so now here we are. And now I'm to the part where I would like to talk about the Venus and Mars conjunction happening in Virgo, because I feel that this is a very powerful moment, and perhaps the most of the whole year. So August 24th, which is in just a couple of days, Venus and Mars will be in the sign of Virgo and meeting and having a sacred marriage at the 4th degree in Virgo. They have not had a conjunction since 2017, which was a very powerful year. It was the year of the Great American Eclipse. And they met each other at the 19th degree of Virgo. So we have another meeting with a great space in between, with great changes and initiations that both of these planets have represented for us. We've been through a lot since 2017. So they met in Virgo once before, and now they're meeting again, a little earlier in the degrees. So I said before, and I'll say it again, when a planet conjuncts with the sun, it is a meeting with the divine. And both Venus and Mars are coming together as planets who last spoke with the sun in the energies of Leo, in the energies of heart and radiance, and of the sun and of light. So I think the fact they're coming together, both with those solar energies, their fires have been lit by Leo, and they're on missions from Leo. So coming together in that light, it is so harmonious. They're on the same page. They're speaking the same language, and I feel like they have the same mission. Earlier I said that those early degrees of Virgo were really significant with the retrogrades of Venus and Mars, because they were activated by the retrogrades, and really important that the sun was there in those early degrees. So meeting there in those early degrees of Virgo, it tells me that this conjunction is certainly related to the retrogrades of Venus and Mars that we have had. They did the retrogrades separately, but they were connected. So Mars, so as I said before, Mars went direct while the sun was at 5 degrees Virgo. So those degrees of 5 to 10 Virgo were really activated by the sun for the retrogrades. Okay, so when Venus and Mars meet, the sun will be at the 1st degree of Virgo with the great royal star Regulus. Now, this is also significant. A day that the sun would be conjunct Regulus is a beautiful and important day, because Regulus is the heart of the lion in Leo, and it is one of the 4 royal stars, which they're the watchers of the directions and the seasons, and they're also associated with archangels. And Regulus is called the king star. Now, something really significant happened in 2012. And because of the precession of the equinoxes and the shift of the sky 1 degree every 72 years, 2012 was the moment when the star Regulus moved from Leo to Virgo in tropical astrology. Now, to me, this is also huge for how we view the sacred feminine. The king star in Leo, Leo being a very masculine sign, Virgo is a feminine sign, and Virgo represents the divine mother, the divine feminine, and the priestess of the divine. So the king star moving to Virgo to me says the king star is now a queen star. And we have entered a time where the feminine is empowered. Oh, sorry, I got a little choked up there for a second. So the fact that the sun will be shining with Regulus on this day, the day that Venus and Mars come together in sacred union, is beautiful and auspicious. It gives blessing to me, the way I see it, to an empowered feminine that meets with the empowered masculine and finds balance and harmony. So now, Uranus is in trine to all of this in Taurus while this happens as well. So we saw during the burning of Notre Dame, the moon and Uranus were in trine with each other in harmonious energy, and the moon was on the 4th degree. And now we have Venus and Mars on the 4th degree in harmonious energy with Uranus. So if Uranus invoked some revolutionary spark and some tumbling and tower moments, this is calm and peace and healing. And I think this is where that divine genius spark of Uranus flows through. After the conjunction, Mars will meet with the sun. And so it will be at the 9th degree of Virgo on September 2nd. So, so this is lovely. We have Venus empowered and on a new pathway from the sun. Then Venus and Mars meet and find harmony and balance together. And then it's Mars' turn to meet with divine light and get his new mission and his new story to tell. Born of Virgo, so born with the blessing of the feminine. So let's see. So Mercury actually also will be conjunct the sun the next day. So Mercury is very near to this Venus and Mars conjunction as well. So so Mercury is giving and getting messages about what happened. And then Mercury will have his cazimi with the sun, and then we will have a new cycle of Mercury as well. So a lot is born of this day. Now, I feel like this is part also of how we close a cycle out too. So Venus will meet with the great star Spica on October 5th, 2019. And it's really amazing because it's a year and a day after the retrograde started. Now, in a lot of ancient traditions, saying a year and a day was very significant. A year and a day was considered to be the time in which you became sure of a decision that you had made. A lot of times a marriage would be, a hand fasting would happen, and it was a commitment for a year and a day, and then the couple would decide if they wanted to move forward after that amount of time. So the fact that Venus and Spica meet 1 year and a day after she began her retrograde, first of all, it closes a cycle. And Venus never met back with Spica during her retrograde, but in this moment, she'll finally have come all the way around the zodiac, all the way around the wheel of the year, and will finally get the blessing that Spica gives through the burning way and through the way of initiation. So this is good. So October 5th will be a beautiful day when Venus will finally meet with that bright blue star, Spica. Now, I feel like what this also means is this is a moment when the heart of the feminine is weighed on the scales. Um, as I said earlier, Venus, or Spica being the reminder that our hearts are weighed in light, not heaviness, not our sins or our karma, but the amount of light that we radiate. So Venus meeting with Spica, after all that she's been through, this is the moment when the heart is weighed. So, all right. And then after she gets the blessing from Spica, the initiation cycle for Venus will be totally complete on October 17th of 2019. This is when the sun will meet with Spica. And what's significant about that is that Venus on that day will be at the 11th degree of Scorpio and completely done with this particular initiation journey. So what do I think that this Venus and Mars conjunction in Virgo really speaks to? Well, I need to speak a little of the line of polarity between Pisces and Virgo. So Pisces is, I believe, the place of spiritual transcendence. It is where we can dissolve into the light of the one, to the light of the God, the divine. We can lose ourselves and be in a great cosmic sea of love. And this is in its highest vibration. So if we have this place in Pisces where we can connect with the great all, and it's very it's mutable water, so it's the vaporous mists. I also feel personally like it is Plato's world of ideals. It's the place where Plato said there is perfection and then there is ideal, and Pisces is where we know this, that there is perfection in the universe, and it just all is. It is all perfection. Well, Virgo is the place where we bring this down and we embody it into physical form. So Virgo is very much associated with the body and with the healing of the body. And so I think this line between Pisces and Virgo is the line of the body and the spirit and bringing them into oneness. Now, this is even seen if you look at the symbols of Virgo and Pisces. You even have the elements of the Vesica Pisces, the two circles becoming one, the spirit and the matter. And we also can see this, the Vesica Pisces, the elements of that in the symbol for Spica too. So, so heaven and earth, this is where we are with this age of Pisces and Virgo. So I think Virgo also has a lot to do with purity and perfection. Virgos are also always given a little bit of a hard time for being a little too picky and perfect. And I will give an excuse to Virgo for that. And that is because Virgo, in connection with Pisces, is aware of the fact that there is attainable perfection in the spirit. And that embodying that and bringing it down, there's always a little anxiety to try to embody the oneness. Now, so when I think there's also the embodiment of the sacred with Virgo is also where the reason that I think calling Virgo the Virgin Priestess is so appropriate, because it is in Virgo, the world that we live in, the bodies that we have, and the work that we do in this world, it is to serve the divine and to serve the sacred. So I think that Venus and Mars having a conjunction through all of the journey they've been through, to have this conjunction in Virgo truly, truly, I have to say, the word sacred marriage applies. It is the union of spirit and matter. And it is a balance of masculine and feminine brought heaven to earth. It feels to me like this is a moment of the balancing of so many polarities. And it's an offer of these energies to for us to bring into our own lives. Um, so I feel like this day, the 24th of August is a very significant collectively, because we all know that we're out of balance. We're out of balance collectively in so many ways. The way we treat women, the way we treat men, the wounding of women and the wounding of men. And everyone will probably see this in their own way. Some people might think this could be political, something religious. See it as you will. I think the goal of everything in an astrological chart is to find center. And so I think this is a moment where we're going to find center, not only of the union of male and female, but also the union with Virgo, where we bring the sacred down into body and into work and service. So it's a beautiful moment. Um, so I suppose I think I've gone through um, quite a lot of what I wanted to say. I think this is more than just a conjunction of two planets. I see this as a moment for us to go forth with um, with a new, how shall I say, uh, a new recognition of how we see uh, the divine feminine and masculine within ourselves and within ours, and a chance for healing, because really that's what we really need. And so I hope I didn't ramble too much here. I probably did, and I'm sure I left things out. I am 100% sure I left things out. I took meticulous notes, but this is why I always prefer to write things down so I can review and then, oh no, add that in paragraph 4, you forgot that. So something I'm sure has been left out, but I hope that the essence of what I had to say is there, that we've had transformed energies, and uh, and it's time for them to come together um, and go forth on new paths in a more balanced and healed way, which makes the world a better place. Well, thank you, and may your heart shine on.